Hey there, you beta player friends. It is finally here, the beta is here since yesterday, and yeah, yesterday was a mad day. I played quite a few hours on stream, well, actually until 5 AM in the morning. So I'm very sleepy, sorry for that, but I need to record now for you guys, because it appeared that the franchise mode is way more difficult than you would have guessed, which is a very good thing, because Frontier was always criticized for being very easy on their games, and especially for the management aspect, but I found it to be very tricky to get things running. And in fact, this is what you're going to see here is a park which unfortunately I lost due to a crash, but it really doesn't work out the way I wanted it to, and this is why I wanted to share it with you, because this will hopefully help you to prevent from making the same mistake. So yeah, first things first, you shouldn't definitely go in and buy everything from the get-go. So the game tells you that you will need a few facilities first. What I did, as you can see over here, I was like spamming all the buildings down, and to be fair, you don't really need that from the very first get-go. So my idea was to have a little bit of a backstage area where we have all the facilities, first of all, which you would kind of see in a real-life zoo anyways. But the problem is at the beginning, since you have so less money and you don't really know where to put the exhibits, it might have been a bit more clever, to be fair, to just build the first exhibit and put all the stuff right next to it to make sure that the kind of connection distances are very short. However, when you build kind of a system like I do over here, make sure that you look into what you really need at the beginning. So for example, you don't really need the workshop for the mechanic at the very first glance, because the mechanic is able to research a lot of things like habitats and let's say kind of cool guest stuff, scenery items, all that kind of stuff. You can do this as soon as you have a bit more money, but it doesn't really work. So at the very beginning, I was getting some animals from the franchise mode. And as you can see, I left this in. It took ages until we can finally get the animals. You can see it failed a lot at the beginning, so the servers weren't really that stable, I should call it. So make sure that you get the animals first, because then if you build something, it takes ages until you have them. I don't know if the servers are improved today. I really hope so, because else you can see even with like 7 times sped up, that was like a little bit of a mad thing. I just stopped the recording for a while so I could deliver something to you. So what I wanted to do then first, you can see I painted a little river over here, so I have something in the middle in terms of water, and the water is also within the distance of my water cleaner, the water pump, and I wanted to make sure that we have something that does attract the guests. So don't go into the small exhibits at the beginning. I did this. They are way too expensive. They cost like 5,000 bucks for one exhibit. They don't attract that much people, and they don't donate that much for the exhibit animals. So just my little tip here, don't go for the exhibit animals at the beginning. You can put them down as soon as you have a running system, and make sure that people go there and enjoy them. But the very first thing is you need some good animals to make sure that people get into your zoo. You need to have, and the best thing to do is like a shared exhibit at the beginning, where you have some animals that fit together, because then you don't need to make many different exhibits, because then you can just put all the staff members right next to it. As you can see, my layout wasn't that bad, because the little food keeper hut is just right next to it, and you should then also start off researching right from the get-go, because as soon as you have an animal in one habitat, you get the option to research that animal in terms of you need enrichment items. At the very get-go, you don't have enrichment items. That means you definitely need to make sure that you get the enrichment item. As you can see, my next mistake, I was getting some exhibit animals, which was down to the fact that at the beginning it was very hard to get the actual animals, as I showed you, because it took ages. So I thought, okay, let's put something in to draw people into the zoo. Obviously, always make sure to adjust the temperatures of your animals. And as you can see, there we go. This is what I just meant. As soon as you put down the animal, you can research it. What you will get is you will get enrichment, or for the exhibit animals, you will get the sustainable items, which is very important. So then I put down my buffalo into its habitat. I was trying to get another one, but you guessed it, it was very hard indeed. I mean, finally there were some animals, but it took ages to get them. So yeah, I would really highly recommend, before you do anything, pause the game, do first of all put down a trading center, because else you don't have access to the animals, and then start trading animals to your zoo, so you have some in your kind of trade center already, that you can just put them into the habitats. Because if you don't have animals, there won't be guests coming too much. At the beginning, they are the guests coming, as you can see. Next thing I did forget in this park, before you open the park, make sure to raise the ticket prices, because I didn't do this and I kept it to $3 per person. So you can actually easily go to 20 for an adult, and I think it was 15 for a kid. I didn't see any issue at all. You can also lower down the wages for your staff members. For example, the keeper usually has 1.1 thousand. You can go to 1.05. That's easy without making them dissatisfied. This is something you really want to make sure as well. Also, very important is the first thing you need to do, create rosters for your keepers. I didn't do this in this first attempt, and that means that the keepers are just wandering around and like they're not really paying attention to their exhibit next to it. So you really want to make a roster for your zookeeper that they're just paying attention to this one single habitat over here. As you can see, I was putting some foliage stuff in, making the filters ready. Actually, these animals don't really like that much foliage, so actually 2 trees and it was totally satisfied, which was a bit ridiculous, but well, it is what it is. Yeah, you can see then I finally managed to adjust the ticket prices, but it was already too late. I lost basically the first 150 people or something, or 100. Also, very important to put down the donation boxes and right next to it a education board, because this means if there is an education board, people are willing to spend a lot more money into the education box, which is pretty much important. As you can see, I have this thing next to it here, and here you can see my research is done and I can finally put in these sustainability items. The good thing about the sustainability items is that they again increase the value of your animal, and that means that the people in your park are even willing to spend more money into the donation boxes. My next biggest mistake was, as you can see, I made this little bridge over the river, which was a good idea because this is how I bring the people into the next area. However, from this raised position, people can actually look into the habitat, which is a good thing, obviously, but not for the animals. So I wasn't paying too much attention to it. I thought I would only have this like little window gallery to the right hand side. But in the end, they all stopped at the bridge and looked into the habitat, and my animals got pretty stressed out, and I needed to raise the fence, and this is basically where we lost the game. I think this is what makes the game crash at the moment. A little bit unfortunate, but yeah. So as I was not making any money, I was putting down a small second exhibit, and again, as you can see, I made this little bridge for the staff members going over into that area. It's highly recommendable, I would highly recommend at the beginning that you build the exhibits close to each other so that you can work with one little backstage area, because else you have the problem that you would need to put down a second food preparation house and stuff like that. I always needed to do this, and this kind of doubles your amount of money you need to spend, which is a bit of a tricky thing. Yeah, however, these warthogs, if you build warthogs, for example, I can only recommend to build an indoor exhibit. These things need like half the habitat hard shelter. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a balancing issue, but if you don't give them like seriously half the habitat with the roof, they are absolutely mad. They start fighting. They are just like really, I don't know what they are, but it's very, very bad. So as you can see, I was saying, okay, they need a hard shelter, so I made one little custom shelter here. And this is me again being too much me, I guess. I wanted to build this all myself. I was making like a custom one, which looks kind of nice. I like the design of it, to be fair. But the problem about this is it only fulfills like 10% of their shelter need. Like this thing over here is 10%, even though they have like this little cave in the background. They have this one over here, and yeah, I thought, okay, this needs to be nice then, right? And I just put a bit of bedding down there, you can see, okay. And then I went in and like, okay, well, okay, still not good enough. And yeah, as soon as they get babies, guess what? This goes to be increased exponentially, which is a pity, because that really is not nice at all. But yeah, at this point in time, I already messed up because my animals were too far away from the food court to make them happy. I didn't have enough viewing galleries, or I have too many viewing galleries. I had the you know, exhibit animal, and I researched for the boa constrictor, which was way too early. I should have researched more for the buffalo, and yeah, it all went wrong. However, this is how you shouldn't start. Or actually, it is a good start, but with all the tips and tricks I just talked you through, you should be able to set up a better zoo than I did. And I would wish you all the best of luck to get the franchise running. I have a second one, which I will deliver to you tomorrow or even today. Let's see how many videos I can prepare, where it all worked out a lot better, and we're going to talk about this obviously as well. And also I give you something to enjoy, which is a very creative build. So hope to stick around with you and see you next time. Bye guys. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @Rudi. Also, big thanks to the crew. You can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.